Good morning, I'm Tim Keef, and this is Chris Podgorski. We're at the Town of Brighton Operations Center at 1941 Elmwood Avenue. And this is where we house most of our large equipment, and we run our sewer and highway department from this facility. Chris is one of our drivers that's been with the town for probably 25 plus years at this point. And Chris drives one of our plows on the east side of town. That would be over off of Penfield Road area, I guess is probably.
Yeah, the Ellison Park area.
Yeah, the Ellison Park area. And we'd like to take a little bit of time today to present and inform people just what it takes to go out and do our snow plowing activities. So we're going to do a little truck education, go over some of the parts of the truck. We have a fairly good-sized vehicle here that's over 20,000 pounds unloaded. Chris could probably give you more details on that. When we put salt on it, salt doubles the weight. So it's a fairly impressive sized vehicle going down the road, not only from a physical stature, but also from a weight stature. So it has a lot of momentum. It takes time to get started, it takes time to get stopped. We really want to stress the need for people to be, courteous and respectful of these vehicles. It's a tough job to do. If you can take the worst scenario you've ever been in when you're driving your car in the wintertime, and imagine trying to drive a truck this size with the snow blowing, the visual impurities that you have, trying to determine where your curb line is, where your travel lanes are, that this is a job that is very hard at times. And our people make it look easy because they're experienced and they are respectful, and safety is our #1 issue while we're out there, trying to keep the roads clear for the public to transgress. I'm going to let Chris explain a little bit of the workings of the truck, and actually we'll try to take a look from a driver's view today as well, so that people can actually see how hard it is to take a vehicle of this size and maneuver it around and do the job properly, and do it with a lot of care and precision.
Thanks, Tim. Like you said, the main thing is definitely safety around the plows. They don't stop on a dime, and they do take wider turns. And like Tim said, it takes us longer to get going, and especially when we're pushing snow, especially coming around a corner sometimes. On this truck here, we have the wing on the side. This wing here will come up a lot of times and block the view of the window. We do have a carrier that'll bring it alongside the truck underneath the window, but unfortunately we can't use the carrier during plow operations. One of the big things with the wing is the driver cannot usually see the wing even when it's down, and cars passing on the right pose a real big hazard. Also, one thing you might want to keep in mind, if a truck is stopped at a traffic light, he's got his wing up, it's not a good idea to pull right up alongside that. There's a car right underneath the wing right now. Some wings do have cables, some are hydraulic, as this one is hydraulic, but things fail, and every now and then a wing cable may break or a hydraulic line may break, and these will just come right down on top of you. We do have a light here so that there is some light shining on the wing, but unfortunately the way this one is set up, you don't even see the wing when it's on the ground. You go strictly by feel when you're going down the road. Dump body carries salt, dirt, stone, whatever has to be done, but this time of year it's all salt. One of the big things in the back of the truck is, if you notice, it's got reflective tape and all sorts of lights. One thing that we encounter all the time is the lights and the tape get covered up by snow. So that's why we ask, when you see us on the road, don't come up right on behind us. Give us plenty of room. The lights aren't always visible, and there are a lot of times where the trucks have to stop and back up to go the other way. And we can't always see the cars right behind us. So here we go. Now a car just literally cut right behind me, just right now. And we're gonna go up the other side of the dugway now.
sort of like with the fire department trucks, Chris. You see them going down the road, and if you're behind them, they always say stay back 100 feet or 200 feet.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want to do, is you want to give these pieces of equipment a wide berth, because we're out doing a job. And as much as we're aware of what's going on around us, it's a big truck, there are blind spots. People have to afford the courtesy, and I can't stress that too much, of the drivers to be able to do the job safely and to do it well.
We do everything we can to get the traffic out of our way. We will wave people through an intersection to get away from us, and go across the front, turn left in front of us if need be, just to give the person the courtesy to get out of our way and we're not in their way. But we do ask that you don't tailgate the trucks and don't come up right alongside of us. That is such a main safety concern. We cannot see every corner of the truck at all, especially when it is snowing out. It's very dangerous. Plus, you got to be mindful that we're checking the Salter computer. We're looking at all the mirrors. Our eyes are constantly roving, but we can't see everything all at once. A lot of salt trucks will have a spinner that comes right off the back of the truck. This truck is a little bit different. It has a conveyor that runs along the side of the dump body. That conveyor carries the salt up to the front chute. Salt comes down the conveyor, runs down the chute, hits the spinner. In the cab is a computer. We can, as the driver, you can determine how much salt you want coming out of the conveyor and how wide of a pattern you want to spread it. It all goes up different conditions based on temperature and time of day and traffic needs as well.
Chris brings up a great point. Salting is not a precise science, it's more of an art. And typically drivers like Chris that have a lot of experience, they're able to adjust how much salt is being put down according to the conditions. And that's very important, because it's an expense that the town has. We go through an awful lot of salt every year. But from an environmental standpoint, we also want to use only the salt that we have to, from the standpoint of being effective. And again, sometimes you go out and you put the salt down before the event so that you try to pre-treat the roads a little bit. Sometimes you're doing it in conjunction with the plowing. So it is one of these things that is fine-tuned, and there's a lot of experience-based information that you do. And as Chris says, the controls over the years have become more computerized, which allows for a more precise application. This is one of our newer trucks.
Yep.
Chris takes this on the east side of town. That's where we have most of the hills, and it's probably the toughest part of the town to take care of.
The hills are a big issue here in town. It's the Ellison Park area, and in fact, even if I'm not out salting or plowing, our night dispatchers will often go up there with a smaller truck just to make sure there's salt on the hills, because they are so treacherous, and they have a habit of freezing right over. The hills, like I said, are a big issue. What may be going on the west side of town, the gentleman who salts over there may not be putting down the same amount of salt that I have to put down. I may have to put down more because of the hills and because of the weather conditions. It's amazing how in Brighton, weather conditions do vary from one side of town to the other. And we encounter that a lot during the winter.
Yeah, that's a great point, because when we're up in the northeast part of town, we're right almost at the end of Irondequoit Bay, so we're not that far from Lake Ontario. So we might be getting lake effect snow on the east side of town, and over on the west side of town, where we're down by RIT, we may not be experiencing the same conditions. So again, Chris may have the toughest of all the routes just because of where he is.
There's ins and outs of everybody's route. Yeah, this can be a pain sometimes, constantly running back to the hills, but there's people right now out plowing. They're trying to deal with all the traffic over, East and West Henrietta Road, and people are trying to plow in the 12 Corners area. They're trying to plow Monroe Avenue and the Clover Street intersection. So I got it pretty easy here with not much traffic, and they could be standing still in bumper to bumper traffic right now.
All right.
We do have as many mirrors as we could possibly get on the truck, but the mirrors cause blind spots, the snow covers the mirrors, and we just can't see a lot of times, especially when the plows are in the raised position. We truly can't see a lot of areas. So that's why we asked the motorists to give us a wide berth, okay? One thing that also we should mention is kids at bus stops. You see the snowplow coming, get up in a driveway where the driver can see it. Don't stand on the edge of the road. We ask you, please get out of the way of the plows. We can't see everything and we can't stop on a dime. So you see the plow coming and you're waiting for your school bus, please get up in one of the driveways where the driver can see you. So here you got some air tanks. One of the things our mechanics have done in case it's ever needed, they actually have an air hose hook up on the, so if anybody needs he has a flat tire or something that needs to be aired up, our mechanics are ready to go with that. Fuel tank, batteries, and then we got the front plow hooked up over here. This is called a quick connect. All I have to do is I can pull in here and drive right into the plow, hook up the bridle chain, lift it up, and these will snap right into place. It's a nice feature to have compared to the older style where somebody has to put a pin in the side. One thing you might want to take a look at is from the front of the truck, how wide the vehicle actually is with the wing on it. And one issue that we really have, and it's really a hardship on every driver here, is the parked cars in the road during the night. There is a parking ordinance in town. We ask that the taxpayers please follow that ordinance. These trucks take up quite a bit of road, and to get around a parked car, you have to raise the wing up. And if there's a mailbox or the ground is soft and you go around that car, you can do damage on the opposite side of the street. So we ask everybody, please do everything you can to get the cars off the road to make it so that we can get by. Well, when we gotta go around the cars, we gotta come back around again and clean up where the cars were. So actually, in the long run, it's costing the taxpayers more money for us to plow the road twice because their cars were in the way. If their cars weren't there, we could have made the pass and been done with it. But now they're, we have to do, come back and clean up around them. During the daytime, visibility is a lot better for us, and you're allowed to park in the road. But during the middle of the night, we want to get the snow off the side of the road, and we can't see because of the shadows, and we're trying to get the roads open before people try to get to work, and the cars in the road really do slow us down and hinder operations. So we ask that you please park in your driveway. A lot of people sometimes get a little upset with us if we're plowing on the main roads and we're having the corner of our plow right on the yellow line. We do everything we can to get out of your way, but we ask you to get over a little bit too, because we are trying to clear that center line. A lot of times what happens is the snow builds up on that center line because there's no traffic to make the brine with the salt. Everything just sits there in the middle. So we have to scrape it, and the only way to scrape it is to get the front of the plow actually on the center line or just a little bit over. Well, like I said, we will do everything we can to get out of your way when we see you coming. The plow is designed to push the snow off to the right, and the wing will carry it even further. Unfortunately, one thing that people in the town need to realize, it does happen. Sometimes the wing does get the edge of their lawn. It is not intentional by any means. Sometimes we just can't see. Sometimes we slide. These trucks slide a lot. I was out this morning salting, and I was sliding through the subdivisions. So you get a lot of snow on you sometimes, and the truck will actually slide into the yards. Mailboxes, everybody it gets a mailbox now and then. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just the weight of the snow knocks them off. As Tim said earlier, we need to get some momentum up to get the snow to go off the edge of the road, and if we get a wet, heavy snow, sometimes the snow will lift the mailbox up. Sometimes the wings hit them. It happens. We don't mean to do it by any means. If it does happen, all you have to do is call the highway department, and we will send out a replacement at our earliest convenience for you.
Most of the time, the light powdery snow is not a problem, but particularly when you get into the springtime conditions or you get a wet, heavier snow, that snow comes off and there's a lot of momentum and there's a lot of weight with it, and it doesn't take much to knock some of the mailboxes out of service. So we do apologize for that, but it is something that we do try to, keep you in service with your mail by coming out there as long as you notify us.